Is the most important anticipated reopening of Parliament in Lesotho. So the government says it has the constitution on its side. The opposition says it has numbers. So only the floor of Parliament will decide who prevails after Friday. Let us just talk to our reporter here on the line, Ntakwana Ngatane, live from Motsemoholo Maseru, Lesotho. Ntakwana, it's a very good morning to you. Talk to us about the preparations in terms of security ahead of today's most anticipated reopening of Parliament.
Good morning, Palisa. Yes, security is very tight here at the National Assembly. From very early in the morning when we arrived, police were already blocking the roads coming into Parliament. You remember that Parliament here in Lesotho is on a hill and only a few roads come up here. But police have issued warnings that members, particularly of opposition parties, should not come into the Parliament precinct because space is very limited here. Only people who are pre-approved, that include members of Parliament, officials. We understand that the SADC Oversight Committee is here in Lesotho. They will be coming up to Parliament. The media, those are the people who are expected to come into the Parliament precinct. Otherwise, no other person is allowed. We are seeing them in numbers, the police, so security quite tight up here.
Likely to see happening today. Are we perhaps expecting any drama? I mean, Parliament saying that they have the constitution on their side. On the other side, the opposition saying that they have the numbers.
Yes, there is a coalition or an alliance of opposition parties that is made up of former Prime Minister Tom Thabane's Obasotho Convention, the Basotho National Party, the Reformed Congress of Lesotho, as well as the newly formed Alliance of Democrats, which is led by Munyane Moleleki, the former deputy leader of Prime Minister Pakadita Mosisidi's Democratic Congress. They held a media briefing earlier this week and they said that 74 of their MPs are going to support this motion of no confidence. And they were saying that they were going to talk to the deputy leader or the deputy prime minister, who's also the leader of the House in the National Assembly, to convene the business committee so that that motion would be part of proceedings today. They had said that if that doesn't happen, they are going to make sure that Parliament discusses the motion of no confidence before anything else, because as far as they are concerned, no other business of Parliament should proceed unless it is understood who actually has control. And as far as they are concerned, they are the ones who now have control. But of course, Palisa, as you said, the government saying that the Constitution gives the Prime Minister the prerogative to now either resign or advise His Majesty the King to dissolve Parliament and call for fresh elections. And the Prime Minister has said he's not going to resign. He's going to opt for the second option, which is to call for fresh elections. But of course, all of that is expected to happen here today. And whether or not we will see that motion of no confidence, we have to wait for 9 o'clock to see what happens.
Yeah, we've also seen some exiled opposition members returning to Lesotho a few weeks ago in Ntakwana. But Basotho Bareng, what are the ordinary Basotho saying on the ground in Ntakwana in relation to all the activities that are unfolding?
Palisa, I can tell you from a perspective of business, what is happening in Lesotho at the moment is almost crippling the country, because from both the side of the government and the side of business, you find that government officials are more focused on getting, because some of them are elected into office politically, they are running around trying to convince their constituencies that things are still okay. So very little time happening in terms of the actual running of government itself. And on the side of business, you find people being apprehensive about coming to Lesotho or doing business with Lesotho at the current moment because of what is happening. But also government officials not having very little time to discuss business with anybody else outside of what is happening here in the country, and trying to allay fears that the situation in the country is still normal and things are still going on as normal. But ordinary people on the ground, especially the opposition supporters, are happy that their leaders have now come back into the country. And you remember that the country is now in a process of reforms. They are expected to weigh in a lot on those reforms, because when they were absent, we did not expect them to play any part. We understand that civil society has also pleaded with the government to not run that process, but be a part like anybody else or a stakeholder in that process. and of course the oversight committee, the SADC oversight committee, meeting all these stakeholders and ensuring that the situation in Lesotho remains normal, that any instability that may come into the country is detected well ahead of time and dealt with so that the country continues to operate normally. Balisa.
All right, and Takwana, we'll wait and see what happens today. Thank you so much for talking to us. Our reporter live from Motsemoholo Maseru, Lesotho, Takwana Ngatane. As I said, this is a story that we'll be keeping tabs with throughout the day.